We'll do it live! Fuck it! Do it live!
Welcome to the Mouthpiece, episode 71, year 3. Today we're going to talk about what's going on in the world. My vacation next week, my home game, whatever, the World Series coming up, whatever you want to talk about, the Mouthpiece is next. What up? Welcome to the Mouthpiece. How you guys doing? Sorry I haven't been on in about 3 weeks. It's been a catastrophic 3 weeks for me. The only thing good in the last 3 weeks is my little boy had surgery and he's doing really well. Other than that, poker's been a complete catastrophe. I'm in the biggest losing streak of my life, actually. So it's not very fun. So I am heading off to the West Coast Ocean tomorrow or Monday morning, and I'll be in Los Angeles area, staying somewhere on the West Coast on the beach, trying to change my luck and take some time off going into the World Series. I need to do something to change this. So hopefully my little vacation will work. And Danny's going to take care of the cats. Right, Danny? Yep. So I just had to wait for, I wanted a vacation like 3 weeks ago, but I had to wait for Flash to get better. And he's doing really good. Where is he? He's been running around here wanting to be on the show all day. Meow, meow. Now he's gone. He'll probably be up in a few minutes. So, what's been going on, everybody? How you doing? Poker's been shitty for me. Worst run of my life. Flash is doing great. Let's see what else is going on. Let's see, the World Series now is 6 weeks away. To me, it seems like it's going to be a complete fucking cluster COVID fuck. But since I've now had COVID and I've had COVID and I'm double vaccinated, and so we'll see what happens. Scotty was supposed to be on today, as you know. And he has not answered the phone. Yesterday, he told me he was in pain and he couldn't make it, and he'd do it tomorrow. And now we're at tomorrow, and he's not answering his phone. So, with that said, what can I do? I can only try my hardest to schedule guests, and you guys know how poker players are. They're a breed. So, right now it's just going to be me, and we're going to take a bunch of phone calls from all you guys, and see what's going on. See you guys want to talk about. In the real world, we have. I can talk politics, I guess, because it's a complete catastrophe, this fucking country, since Biden took over. But hey, Trump tweeted mean things, so they needed a change, and now they've destroyed the country in 6 months. And that's not just being a partisan when I say that. I mean, the border is a complete catastrophe. 221,000 people last month came in. When Trump was in office, they had it down to under 20,000. It's a complete catastrophe. 20% of the 221,000 have COVID, and they're taking those people and putting them into the interior of the country, and they want to know why the COVID rates are going up so much. And their withdrawal from Afghanistan is a complete catastrophe because of the fact that Trump had a May 30th hard deadline to get out of Afghanistan, but since Biden wanted to politicize it for September 11th, on the 20th anniversary, the Taliban then had 4 months to get together, and now we have a complete catastrophe in Afghanistan. It's a disaster. Free speech is being taken away. You get censored on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. I don't even know where to begin. It's a catastrophe, But like I said, I'll be wearing my shirt at the World Series every day that says, "Don't blame me. I didn't vote for him." I ordered a bunch of those shirts because these people are so stupid. It's amazing how stupid people are. They don't know what's going on in the real world. They only know what the fake news tells them. And then when the whole country goes to shit, then we have to deal with the bullshit. So, yeah. Brandon Wong, he just loves to come on. Guy is so clueless. I don't know. He's just so fucking clueless. No, you don't have free speech on a private platform. You don't have free speech at all. But whatever. Phil is in the middle. His wife's a fucking leftist, so he has to pander a little bit to the left. A lot of his friends are on the left, but
are you crazy, Phil?
Yeah, but he's he'll say he's in the middle. I'm educating him a lot on politics because he thinks he knows everything. You know how Phil is. So, but I've made I've got some good prop bets with Phil. I made this great prop bet with him 4 days ago for 10,000. 10,000. I told him by the 2022 midterms. That's a 14 months from now, that they'll be still talking about COVID killing everybody. And he says COVID will be gone completely by the 2022 midterms. Now, I wanted to bet him 100,000 originally, but he said yes, and then he changed his mind. How's he ever going to win that bet? COVID is the only thing that the Democrats have to hold on to power. That's it. They have not one policy that's any good for the country. Not one. I asked Phil, Phil, name one policy that's good for the country. You know what he says? Well, they gave all these people COVID relief money. I said, good for the country? It destroyed the country. I'm like, all these businesses are going out of business because they can't get enough workers to work because everybody's getting more money in unemployment than they could get while working. So I debunked Phil's only policy that he was able to say that the Dems have good, because they don't have anything good. They run on nothing. And Brandon Wong, you should fucking stop being a sheep and fucking understand that what's going on in the country. So that's about. Let's see what else is going on. The Dodgers are tied. They need to win. They win every game. The Dodgers win every game, and they win 8 out of 10 games, and they lose ground against San Francisco. San Francisco never loses. How is San Francisco so good? I have no idea. No shit. I know COVID's worldwide. It's not just about COVID. COVID's a political winner, not just for the American left, but for the whole entire communist fucking leftist all over the world. So it's they want to keep it alive forever. COVID was gone June 1st, in case you guys aren't aware. June 1st, there was no COVID in the world. And then, lo and behold, we have the Delta variant, which is, who knows, man? There was no new variants for a year and a half until COVID was gone. And then now we have 2 new variants. One that's ravaging the whole world. I mean, you guys could think whatever you want. I mean, I have my own theories on it, you know. You guys will say it's a conspiracy theorist, but I mean, COVID was gone, and then a new variant just magically appeared as it was gone. I mean, put 2 and 2 together, boys and girls. 2 and 2 is 4, not fucking 10. So, you know, that's my opinion on it, you know. You asked what my view is on Cuomo. I think Cuomo is I do not think that he sexually assaulted any of those women. I think he was a political pawn, and they needed to take him out so they don't press charges on the nursing home situation that he killed 12 or 15,000 people. So it was for political reasons, and if you read the 26-page report, you will see that there's really no evidence of him groping or doing anything to women. It's just all political bullshit. See, and I think Cuomo's a piece of shit. So, you know, but I'm going to stick up for him when I know how corrupt our government is, and they're going after Cuomo for political purposes. And plus, they don't want him running 2024 against Kamala. That was all. So they had to destroy him because he was too powerful. And that is why they destroyed Cuomo. And if anybody wants to debate that with me, you can call in the show today. We can debate that. But I'm going to tell you right now, that's what happened. So, I was watching a little preseason football today. I don't know why. It's like they don't even use the first units or whatever, but whatever. There was nothing else on TV to watch. So I was watching that. The Olympics. Anybody watch the Olympics? I watched about fucking 10 minutes of the Olympics. I'll tell you what. The Olympics, Brian Hastings made the greatest tweet. He's like, NBC spent $1.1 billion on the Olympics, and they never once advertised to tell you when different events were going to be on TV. It was pretty unbelievable, and I agree with them 100%. And so, like even the gold medal NBA I wanted to watch, they said it was going to be on 12:30. So I set my alarm for 12:15. My sleep schedule was a little bit fucked up, and I got on at 12:15. It was over. It was 12:30 Eastern time that they decided. Hey, can you do me a favor? Yeah. Can you get a drink out of my fridge, a grape one? It should be one on the second shelf. And yeah. So I missed that. And here's another thing. Okay, what do you guys think of this? Anybody out there watch the Olympics? And I've asked 3 people this question, and nobody's answered it correctly. I mean, they've all answered it the same as I felt. Have you noticed that the communist fucking NBC didn't show one gold medal playing of the national anthem? Not one. Not one. I watched this every single... I watched like 10 minutes of it, but I watched like the ending of a few events. Never once, even when the Americans won the gold medal, they never showed one playing of the national anthem when one of our people won the gold medal, because they hate America. That's why. That's the whole key of the Olympics, is to play your country's national anthem when you win. But we have people like the U.S. women's soccer team that kneel for the national anthem. So, you know, it is what it is. Yeah. No, I might have watched 20 minutes. I might have watched 20 minutes of the... I mean, I would try and watch some of it, but let's see, it would be on at like 3 a.m. It would... there was no fucking people in the stands. Like, how do you watch something? There's nobody in the stands. There's no energy. You know, it's just disgusting. Gary, would I considering challenging Phil in the heads up duel? I told him the other day, after he won about a week and a half ago, I said, why don't you just play me? I go, you ain't lost anybody except for me in the last 8 years. And he's like, you only won because you called 322,000 with a flush draw with one pull to come. I was dominating the match, and if I lost, we would have been dead even in chips. It gave me 2 chances to win. So he's a fucking idiot. You know, he's lucky we made a deal. I gave him an extra 100,000 because I told him I had a dream I won the tournament that I was going to win. So I shouldn't even have given him the 100,000, but whatever. So, you know, it is what it is. Let's see what else is going on. Let's see. I'm going on vacation on Monday for a week. I already said that. If you haven't joined my home game yet and you want to join my home game, email mouthpoker@yahoo.com. Mouthpoker@yahoo.com. Receive 300 in chips for a $200 initial deposit. We play No Limit Hold'em, 1-2, No Limit MPLO every day. Mouthpoker@yahoo.com. So, let's see what else is going on. Yeah, there was nothing really good about the Olympics. I mean, the opening and closing ceremony didn't have one fan in the stands. I mean, I don't even understand. I do understand. I know what's going on here. The whole world is keeping everybody afraid of COVID so they could keep control and power. And anybody wants to debate me, we're going to take phone calls in a little bit. You guys could call in. And you could tell me where I'm wrong, because I know I'm not. I know I'm not. I know what's going on in the world. And you turn on the fake news, and they want to tell you, well, it's Trump's fault for making a hard deadline of May 30th to get everyone out of Afghanistan. No, Trump said May 30th, not September 11th, Mr. Biden, to give him an extra 4 months to mobilize, and they completely destroyed Afghanistan in 3 weeks. But the fake news will always blame it on the right. Anyways, we're going to take some phone calls, and whoever wants to call in, 702-329-0480. 702-329-0480. We're going to take some phone calls now.
The Mouthpiece.
If you'd like to take part in our phone call segment, you can give us a call at 702-329-0480. And if you're a snowflake or a pussy and you don't want to talk to me, you can email me at mouthpiecepodcast@gmail.com. Also, follow me at the Mouth Matiso on Twitter for times that our call-in segment will be live.
Seven 702-329-0480. 702-329-0480. Call me, ask me some questions, debate me about anything going on. Welcome to the Mouthpiece. This is Mike.
Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, bud?
What's up, Mike? It's Nick from Yuma. How you doing?
Hey, Nick. How's it going, my man?
Pretty good. First off, I want to shout out Michael Schultz and Just Me, the Cat Jones in the chat.
Oh, okay.
All right, brother. Look, I've been watching those D-Neg streams, and I don't like how he makes fun of you because you seem to like, you know,
Mike's too dumb
seem to like talk nicely about him, but he isn't doing the same. What's up with that?
I have not watched that. Like, I talk to Daniel every day, at least 3 days a week, probably. We text. I have not watched his streams, but he's been very nice to me. I had no idea. You're the second person that said that. I think, you sure he's not just trolling me and just having fun with my political views, or is he just calling me, just making me look like an idiot?
Well, I think it's maybe 50-50. Like, it definitely revolves around, he keeps saying that, like, you went to Facebook University and like all the information you get is off Facebook.
Well, he says that because he is a sheep. Okay, he doesn't want to. He says, "Well, I'll get my news from the BBC." He tells me. I said the BBC is like 75% to the left, maybe 80. I'm like, what does that do? I go, why don't you go to BBC? Why don't you go to left-wing media and right-wing media and then fact check it and then tell me what's correct or not? You know what I'm saying? You can't just go to one news source and say this is the greatest news source. You know, just like people's like the New York Times is the gold standard. Well, the gold standard for what? I mean, they're fucking 98% left. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to push stories to favor them. It's pretty sad that we don't have a independent press in this country to talk about real news or what's going on. So, he gets upset. Daniel gets upset when here's the thing is I love, and maybe you'll understand what I'm saying, is I love people, whether you're a Democrat or a fucking Republican. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? But the left, they despise people on the right. Or the people on the left, we don't despise anybody on the left. We just think they're ignorant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's...
I mean, look, I understand, people have different perspectives, opinions. But my thing is, like, from what I'm seeing, you don't badmouth him.
No.
I mean, maybe you say some comments, but like he's right on the line of, really like talking shit, and it's like.
Well, here's the thing.
I don't know. It seems like.
Here's the thing: is I know that he's not doing it maliciously, and he gets about. I don't even know how many people watch his fucking streams. 5,000, 10,000. So if he wants to talk about me, you ever heard the old story? Any press is good press, right? So, I don't, I did see his podcast yesterday where he talked about that I didn't understand game theory. And
Still talking about that?
no, I saw it today. It said that podcast 101. Daniel Negreanu talks how Mike Matasso can't learn game theory, right? And so I don't really need to worry about game theory. I mean, I win and win and win and win and win and win. I mean, what do I need to do? Why do I need to? What do I need to do? Work on something that's gonna. Like, I had a friend over my house. Great teacher, great teaching poker. Tristan Wade, great guy, and he couldn't. And he was trying to teach me some GTO and stuff, and it cost, like. I misplayed some hands because I disagreed with his thought process. He's like, no, you got to raise right here. I'm like, dude, this guy hasn't played a hand. I'm like, dude, you can't 3-bet here. No, you're supposed to 3-bet. I 3-bet, and of course, the guy moves in, and I'm just like, see, you fucking idiot. I'm like, there's a lot more to poker than just fucking GTO. I'm like,
look, poker, politics, whatever it is, like, you guys have different opinions. Clearly, you're on the opposite side.
Yeah.
But I don't know what your relationship with him is. I know you've had beef in the past. It seems like you guys are cool now.
Yeah, we're good.
It seems like you're cool, but when I hear him saying some stuff about you, it's like, oh, are you really cool, or are you just pretending, or what?
Yeah, I think. Listen, I think he just likes to make fun of me because, listen, look what he did with Phil. Look how he how he badmouthed Phil before his match with Phil and got destroyed 3 straight times. So, it's like Daniel's very opinionated and he's stubborn as fuck. So it's not like somebody you can, like, I got people on the left that are friends of mine. They'll call me up. We'll debate issues. We'll fact check them together. And when I'm right, the person will tell me, hey, you were right, Mike, which is, by the way, about 85% of the time. And then there's 15% of the time where I'm wrong. And she shows me that I'm wrong. And I apologize, but it's this is how I know I'm on the right side, by the way, is every time we fact check something, when I tell her to look up something, right? Because she'll have this different opinion on it. And at least 85 out of 100 times, she she says, "You're right, Mike." She goes, and then like the last time we talked, she said to me, she goes, I'm starting to doubt everything I've thought about politics my whole life because of everything you showed me. Okay, so again, that's somebody that's not a sheep, somebody that's my good friend that knows I'm not crazy, okay, that's willing to listen. You see what I'm saying? And, I joke around with her all the time. I'm like, I'll have you red pilled in about 3 more months, right? And she laughs, right? But because she's such a leftist, my friend Ashley. But, when you're good friends with somebody and you could debate politics, which we do at least a couple days a week for a couple hours a day, when she starts seeing that, when I expose certain things and I start showing her, this is what they're saying, or this is what they say about Tucker Carlson, and I'm like, watch this. I'm like, and I'm always able to contradict whatever the narrative is. Like Daniel will text me, Tucker Carlson's the biggest racist piece of shit ever, and then he'll send me a video that's completely cropped and edited to make Tucker Carlson look like a racist. So I then send him the video of the exact same thing that's unedited and uncropped. Right. And his answer was, I'm not going to look at that. I don't watch nothing that's on Fox News. You see what I'm trying to say? So where my friend Ashley will when I show her the truth, she'll see it and say, wow, you're right, Mike. Daniel's too stubborn too. And, if Daniel wasn't so stubborn, he wouldn't be such a flaming fucking leftist. And
but one thing you just said about the edited shit, and like I know this has been a thing, but it's gotten like much better, is those deep fakes.
The what?
You know what I'm talking about? The deep fakes. It's called deep fakes. Like they can like make someone.
Oh, I know.
Say it's crazy. Like so,
I know. That's why. That's why you have to follow the shit religiously, like I do, because if you don't, 95% of the people work 9 to 5 and 90%, and they turn on CNN or Fox for like an hour a week. They don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But if you follow the shit religiously, like I do, you know what the truth is. And the truth is right in front of everybody's face. They just have to not be so, just so stubborn. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I mean,
listen,
that's it.
The point of my phone call, though, is, you can have difference of opinions, but, like, he's over there. He's saying some, I think you're right. I think he just likes to tease you.
Yeah,
and I think that's the majority of it.
Yeah.
But it gets close to crossing the line. So, look, I took up enough of your time.
I appreciate it, man. You know what, though? I will call him today after I'm done with the podcast, and I will say... no, he won't answer. He's playing the tournament. He's in a 10K and I think he's still streaming right now. He said he was playing a 10K today and a 1K finals day 2. I don't know. So, who knows?
But last, before I get off, I just want to shout out my boys, Eric Adventure and Noah Schmartz.
You got it, my man. And thanks for calling. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thanks for your time, Mike.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
Later. Well, to the Mouthpiece is Mike.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good, man. Who's this?
This is Brad. How you doing?
I'm good, Brad. What are you up to?
Hey, I'll just tell you this little story. I played ball in college. I played basketball in college. I went to University of Colorado.
Okay.
And I knew guys like, I played against Scott Wedman, Boston Celtics.
Okay.
John Sturm, New York Mets. I knew a lot of these guys, but anyway, to nail it down here, we had this political science course, in college, and this is about like 40 some years ago.
Yeah.
And we're in this class, and we didn't know what the hell was going on. So at the training table, we ate with the football players. So every night, Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9, they would have a study hall, and they would hire tutors for us dummies to get us through class. So we had this political science course, and this guy tutored us, and he happened to be Gary Hart's speechwriter working on his PhD. You know, Gary Hart, the senator from Colorado.
Yeah.
And so he, you know, we were dumb kids back then. I was, you know, I mean, shit, I was like 18 years old. I didn't know nothing. And this guy knew that.
Yeah.
And so he kind of tried to bring us up to speed. He thought, you know, he'd get us through this course, but then he'd get us through what's really happening in the world, you know, at the same time.
Yeah.
So anyway, he brought up this thing, and I've learned it my whole life. He told me, he said, you know, and it blew me away when I was a kid because I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He said, look, when I ask you this, you know, what do you think? Does the Constitution follow the flag? Mm-hmm. And it took me off. I wouldn't know how to answer that. And I'm not going to ask you because I don't think, I'm not putting you on the spot, but, you know, naturally I said, oh, yeah, sure it does.
Yeah.
It was my response.
And I think
you know what the truth,
I don't think the Constitution doesn't follow the flag. No.
Exactly. No. It doesn't. And he explained to us why it doesn't.
And what was his
reason it doesn't is that there's two jurisdictions. Mm-hmm. So, and there's the jurisdiction in District of Columbia and the territories, mm-hmm. where the federal government is sovereign, and then there's the constitutional republic, and there's two. That's another jurisdiction. There are like three different definitions of United States.
Yeah.
And there in our code sections, you can find 100 different definitions of the United States because when they write a law, they gotta basically they define the United States to show you the jurisdiction that it's in.
Yeah.
And so when these congressmen and senators go to Congress, they merge the two jurisdictions together, and then they write laws for both jurisdictions, but they don't tell us what laws they're writing them.
Well, and what they do is they pass laws and just like the new infrastructure bill, 2,700 pages. How many people do you think read that 2,700 pages? One, if that. You know what I'm saying? They just pass it.
And I mean, and then you know, like if you really talk to anybody about the Constitution and you bring up, hey, what do you think about this business about two jurisdictions? There ain't nobody knows what that our system of government is under two different jurisdictions.
Not only is it under two jurisdictions, everything, and again, I've only been political for about 5.5 years. Everything that, but I'll put my intellect against anybody who wants to call in and debate me anything. So, but I'm not saying I'm like the smartest person because I'm not the type of person that will. I respect other people's opinions. That's the difference between me and people who are leftists. You know, I'll listen to your opinion, and then I'll show you where you're wrong, or if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. But the thing is everything's politicized. Okay, everything you see on any cable news network is all shaped for a political agenda. And when the left and listen, I even when I watch Fox News, I watch them when they politicize certain things, and I'm just like, shut the fuck up, man. I'm like, you're just being like Obama had his 60th birthday party, and they're like, oh, nobody was wearing masks, rules for thee and not for me, and I'm just like, I mean, how many parties have you gone to in the last 6 months? Who gives a fuck? So they're politicizing it with Obama, and I just think it was wrong. You know what I'm saying? And when the people on the left say, they say, well, you know, Obama did this, or I'm just like, no, he didn't. I'm like, Obama had a birthday party. Leave him the fuck alone. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I guarantee you half those people on the right, if they were invited to that birthday party, they'd have gone. So, you know, I'm just being honest. You know, so when I see them politicize things, just like, yes, the border is a disaster, but I also watch how the right-wing media just uses it day after day after day to pound the left. You see what I'm saying? That's propaganda to me, okay? Yes, it's a disaster, the border. Yes, they need to keep people aware of what's going on, but to talk about it like nonstop. In other words... Yeah,
I think both... go ahead, I'm sorry.
And what I'm trying to say is I am very capable to, because I've watched and learned all this stuff religiously, to separate politics on both sides. You see what I'm saying? I could sit there and turn on a left-wing media and know that's all political. I could turn on a right-wing media and say that's just propaganda also. And what the key is to see through the propaganda and see what the truth is. And to do that, you have to be open-minded, and you have to be willing to not just say, like this fucking idiot in chat, oh, Fox News is all propaganda. No, it's not, okay? Fox News is 25% propaganda, okay, and 75% truth. And CNN is 99% propaganda and 1% truth. No, I'm sorry, 98% propaganda, 2% truth, and MSNBC is 99% propaganda and 1%. So, it is what it is. You just got to be, and that's not because I'm on the right. I do my homework. You know what I'm saying? I don't just sit there and say, oh, so-and-so's saying this. Let's see if that's true. That must be true. And most people, when they watch CNN or Fox, they just take it as that this is true. You know what I'm saying? Whatever they say. But you got to look up to see what's propaganda and what's not. So I'm very aware of what propaganda is. So, yeah, what you were saying about the two different things, it's 100% what I agree with you, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, but both sides don't. I mean, I think the right side, Republican side, is a little bit more open to discuss the constitutional issues, but yes. the left doesn't want to even hear anything.
They don't want to hear
about
it. They want to censor dissent, and they want to censor anybody with a different opinion, and that it's their way or the highway, and that's not what it's not what our founders had in mind. It's like we have different forms of government, different opinions to help, what was put together to help make the country a better, different points of view to help make the country a better country. And every single politician is corrupt. I mean, not everyone, but at least 10% on each side in the Senate and the House are corrupt. So that's 45 people on each side in the House, and 10 out of 100 on each side in the Senate. They're just corrupt. And all our laws are built around lobbyists that lobby for their companies to get around tax laws, and then they stick fucking money in these fucking corrupt politicians' pockets. And this is what's going on. Then that's how Trump got elected. That's what people want to know. Like, how did Trump get elected? They got elected because people were sick of the bureaucrats and the fucking and the corrupt politicians. You know what I mean? But yeah, Trump's just as corrupt as them. You know what I'm saying? Don't you think I'm stupid?
Me and this guy, we got involved in this. We blew the whistle on this. This was years ago when I was young and crazy, and I was told later on I could have ended up out in the desert dead.
Yeah.
But I was too young enough to. I was too naive to know any better. So we blew the whistle on this company.
Yeah.
And we got these high-powered, they were liberal attorneys from back east. They took on this case, and it was an eight-year case settled out of court, which I can't really I'm not supposed to discuss the nature of it. Yeah. But anyway, we got into, I knew a little bit about the Constitution. And my attorney told me, he said, you bring up that goddamn Constitution in front of this judge, we'll lose the fucking case.
It was probably a leftist judge.
Well, our attorneys were leftist, liberal attorneys.
Yeah.
They knew that me and this other guy were basically Republicans.
Right.
And but they took on this case because there was a payday at the end of it for them, so they had to tolerate us. And then, but they basically don't ever bring that Constitution up to this judge or in this court, or we lose the case.
Yeah.
And he says that's just the way it is. And from that point on, I shut my mouth up.
Yeah.
And he said, "You either do what I tell you, or we're going to lose this case." So at that point, I shut up.
Yeah.
And we were successful in that we settled out of court. But I mean, it was. You just realize that they didn't teach us the Constitution in school. They don't, and nobody really understands what their rights are under the Constitution, and it's like it's gone haywire.
Yeah, No.
The thing has just gone crazy.
I
now.
mean, look what they're trying to do with people, infringe on people's rights. All you heard from the left was healthcare is the government shouldn't get involved with healthcare, but it was my body, my choice. But then when it comes to vaccines, it's like we want vaccine mandates. We want to say what you can put in your body. I mean, I'm vaccinated, but I mean. This is now all of a sudden it's no longer my body, my choice because it doesn't fit their political narrative. So, anyways, I got some other calls.
Okay, all right, take care.
All right, my man, take care. Later.
Your call. I'm sorry, but the person you called has a
Hello.
What's up? Welcome to the Mouthpieces, Mike.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good, man. Who's
This is Howard. I'm calling you from Los Angeles.
What's up, buddy? I'll be there Monday.
Are you playing in one of the live streams?
I am. I'm playing on Ryan Feldman's new Hustler Live.
That's fantastic.
I'll be playing Tuesday night, Wednesday, and I think Friday. Or I might only play Tuesday and Friday. Friday is a 100, 200 game. It's a really big game. I'm not sure if I want to play that big because I'm in the middle of a pretty fucking big losing streak right now, and I don't feel like losing 50 or 100,000 in a game. So we'll see what happens if I play that. But I'm definitely Tuesday night. I'm definitely playing. It's a 5-5-50 ante game that plays a little bit bigger than 10-20. It plays close to 20-40, and he's got a couple of really good spots. He says in the game. He says if I don't make 10 or 15,000 something, you need an investigation. I said okay. So I'm gonna do.
I've been watching a lot of those Hustler live streams, and I think the camera work is fantastic.
Oh.
I think it's it's been relatively soft, and I think you're going to do unbelievable.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, any chance that we can buy a piece of your action?
If I play the 50, 100, 200 game, yes. If not in the other games, okay? So, I don't know how much you want to buy of it, but I'm probably selling at least 50% of myself in the 50, 100, 200 game. So I've got people that want to put up all the money, but you know me, I got to play for something. So,
of course.
Well, we'll see. I'll probably.
Are you using one of those websites that are pretty popular, like Stake.com or one of those others?
No, I do. I do that for the World Series, but I've got a lot of rich friends that think I'm pretty good at that think I'm pretty good at poker, and I've made lots and lots and lots of money for. So, I still have. I have people that want to take pieces of me. Like Phil always wants to take half of me. I think he's mad that I don't give him as much pieces anymore because I put so much money in his pocket. But
That's funny.
But it's okay. So I'm going down for vacation, but I am going to be playing on a couple of streams. So it's a vacation, and then hopefully my vacation is going to cost me around $10,000 probably. So I'm hoping that I win at least that much on the streams. So.
Are you going to be meeting up with any fans?
I'll be at the Hustler Casino Tuesday. I think the stream starts at 3 in the afternoon. So
Okay.
I'll be there if you want to come up and say hello.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
I got a couple. Yeah, I got a couple other questions for you, if you got a moment. You know, I always considered when I'm watching you play live on TV, you're one of the most honest players. You don't, you know, when you're talking to other people at the table, you don't tell them something you don't have if you have it, and vice versa.
Well,
I was watching. Yeah. I was watching one of the newer high stakes poker that you were on, and I was watching some of your old vintage high stakes poker.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a couple of times when you put an opponent in a really tough spot. And instead of letting this guy try to figure it out and hopefully call you because you had the goods, you know, both times, you start telling the guy what you don't have.
Well, you're talking about the 7-7 hand. Well, I did not think he had a hand that big. Or that's why I was.
Okay.
If I knew he had the nut flush, there's no way I would have said a fucking word. Yeah, it cost me $6,000. You think I don't know that?
Yeah. When you start yakking, they're thinking of folding. You know. You mention every hand that you don't have. You're honest about it. And the one hand that you don't mention is the one that you have.
Yeah. I mean, Frank's a smart guy, and Frank lost a lot of money the day before. And him like me, we were promised this great lineup, and we ended up the lineup wasn't very good. So, and Frank's a good friend of mine. I was talking, you know, but I had no idea he had a hand that big. If I would have thought he had a hand that big, I would never have said anything. So yeah, well, you're right.
You were very kind.
Yeah.
The more you chatted, the more he was ready to throw those cards in.
Yeah.
You pushed him to the point where he did. Maybe you should try that when you're bluffing. Just
well, I do. I definitely.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I do. I mix it up. But yeah, that hand made me look like an idiot. But I had no idea he had a hand that big. So I thought he had a flush draw. I thought he had a flush draw. And when he let out, I thought he made a flush. But I didn't think he had a nut flush. I just didn't.
Yeah,
so.
he was fun to watch too. Actually,
Frank is truly one of the greatest people you'll meet in poker. He is such a good guy. Yeah. He is honest. He does a lot of charity work. Does a lot of bicycling for charity. You know, people always think that Frank. They call him Frank the Tank because they always think he was. Everybody thought he was an alcoholic because whenever he plays poker, he likes to drink. But he told me, you know, he says he goes, I never drink unless I'm playing poker. You know, so you know, he's a good guy. So yeah, he's one of the top people in poker. He's a good man. Good man.
One last question I have for you, Mike, then I'll let you go. You're arguably one of the best PLO players in the world.
PLO 8. Definitely PLO 8.
Yeah, PLO 8. You've got a lot of fans that would love to play you like in a fantasy heads-up match. Mm-hmm. Where just the thrill of playing you would be amazing, whether we win or lose, and obviously
come play in my home game. I play my home game every day. 1-2 no limit, 1-2 PLO. You can email mouthpoker@yahoo.com. Yeah,
I'm just talking about playing you heads up because the heads up duel has really kind of taken off where a lot of people find it interesting, and it would be a really good way to connect with some fans and. A way for you to build the bankroll.
You know, that's a really good idea. I'm wondering if instead of the heads up duel being like top player versus top player, it's whose dick's bigger. You know, maybe they should have heads up duel where they televise and you win entries into playing your favorite poker player. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and poker go
kind of like a fantasy camp. Their fantasy poker game. To play you heads up.
Yeah.
I mean, I can think of a dozen people
Poker Go.
That would love to do that.
That's a good idea. Poker Go should run some kind of thing where one fan out of how many, whatever they win up. They play a poker tournament to. We used to do that with Full Tilt back in the day. People would win their way to playing all of us head up or in these formats, whatever they were. And I don't know if you remember watching them back in the day, but yeah, people would win their thing online to have a chance at winning So there was many times it would be like if they beat us once, they got 50 grand. If they beat us twice, they got 100 grand. And if they won all three, they won 250,000. So they would always say to us, go out there and save us 400,000. You know what I'm saying? So, so we would go there and we'd play as hard as we could, because we try and save the company from having to pay out 400,000. If you lose one and then you beat them the next one or whatever, if they only beat you one and they win 50 grand, they would have, the people who ran Full Tilt used to say, good job, Mike, you saved us 350,000. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I think that it's what you're talking is a good idea. And I think
I'm just thinking of ways to build your bankroll, pay off any debts you might still have. I know that amateur players would love to play you just for the thrill of it. Whether they lost, a little bit of money, it would be worth it just for the honor to play you.
No, I agree. I think it's something that I should talk to the guys and we could work on. So anyways, I appreciate the call.
Well, hang in there, Mike. Have a wonderful show.
Thank you, my man.
Stay healthy.
And you take care. Have a great weekend. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
I'm going to turn down your phone noises. They're pretty loud.
Hello?
Yo, welcome to the Mouthpieces, Mike.
Hey, Mike. I just wanted to talk to you about my concerns about the WSOP being stunted by the virus.
Yeah. Okay. What's your thought process on it?
I mean, I don't know. Have you seen the new rule that came out that now basically people can just complain that they think you're exhibiting symptoms, and apparently they can just revoke your entry and not pay you back.
That was over. They came out with a rule clarifying that yesterday, and so that's been disregarded. And the new rule came out saying that they're not going to remove you. They think you have COVID, so they can't really police that. So
okay, that's good news to me, because honestly, I don't even really know if I fully believe in the virus. I mean, I've never gotten it. No one in my family has gotten it.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'll answer that to you. The virus is real. It's just not real deadly. Okay? It's fear-mongering for political gain all over the fucking world. Okay?
Exactly.
COVID is a very powerful tool to give the left-wing governments control. And once you have control over people's lives, their health care, and what they can say, where they could go, you have communism throughout the whole world. The only way communism and socialism works is if everybody's on board. And I do believe COVID was released on purpose to try and make the world a communist place. And I think if we don't fight back against these draconian lockdowns and against our freedoms that are being taken away, we are going to lose the country. And that's the truth. That's true.
Absolutely.
But I've had COVID, and it's not fun. Okay, and I'm fully vaccinated and got COVID. Okay, it was the third most miserable thing I've ever had in my life, and my symptoms weren't that bad because I was fully vaccinated. And this is why I'm going to tell you this, because I'm pro-vaccine, and the ER doctor told me, and he's on our side politically, by the way. Okay, he said, Mike, he goes, what the news media has done to politicize COVID is the biggest disgrace in the history of the world. He said, if it was up to me, I would move out of this country and work somewhere else. That's how disgusted he is by it. With that said, he said, Mike, I've never hospitalized or had one patient die from COVID who was vaccinated. And the people that come in that aren't vaccinated, that are unvaxxed, he said a week before I was in that he had a guy come in that had tumors all over his body from pockets of pneumonia, and he said he sent him to the main hospital right away, and He doesn't even know. He says he don't think he made it. He said it was the most frightening thing he'd ever seen. And he told me like 3 different horror stories about people that weren't vaxxed that came in and said, God, I wish I would have been vaxxed. So I'm going to let you know right now, COVID's real. Okay. It's just, it's like, it's just not real deadly. It's like, just remember they're doing all these crazy fucking rules for a virus that 99.5% of the world survives,
Right, and yeah, and I mean one thing that really stuck out to me that you said is the this being the strategy of the left wing, and I mean I really think if this whole COVID storyline wouldn't have come out, Trump would still be president.
Of course he would still be president. What do you think? China released the virus on purpose, bro. They did it on purpose to get Trump out of office. They kill 5 million people worldwide, and they get economic dominance, and they get Trump out of office, who was going to cost their country $8 trillion on the trade deal he was negotiating. Yeah, I mean, of course that's what happened.
I mean, it's just disgusting, and I mean, this isn't even going into the unfairness of the vote. I mean, I don't think the vote was
well
real.
because they were so sure they were going to win that by 10:30 p.m. West Coast time, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, they closed down the vote counts in the 4 major swing states at the same time, and an hour and a half later, Biden was president. Okay, right. Because they had to put more mail-in ballots through the fucking scanner so they could win. Trump won every bellwether county in the country. He won like 90%. He won. If you look at the data, it's impossible Biden won the election. Okay, and
absolutely.
And listen, I'm just like, look, Mike Lindell. I mean, say what you want about him. Like people watch my show. If they really think the election wasn't stolen, Mike Lindell's offering $5 million to anybody that could prove to him that the data of the election that it wasn't stolen. Okay? And because the data, if you look at all the data, it spikes, it goes straight up for Biden from 1:30 to 2:30 Eastern time. And then it just flattens out the rest of the time. That's impossible. You understand that? It's completely impossible.
I mean, I was watching the TV, throughout the entire election. I was watching the TV, and I mean, in my head, I'm thinking Trump is a lock. I mean, I'm watching the map. I'm looking at where the votes are going, and it's Trump is a lock. And then all of a sudden,
he'd have like 150,000 vote lead in Wisconsin with 97% of the vote in. I mean, same with Pennsylvania. Same with fucking Michigan. I mean, this was a flat out. This was the biggest thievery in history. But but if I say that on here, now we're going to get demonetized. So this podcast won't make any money.
But but I mean, it's like you said. I mean, we got to fight back. I mean, we can't just allow them to just run over us forever.
No, and just like January 6th, insurrection. Not one only person killed January 6th was Ashley Babbitt. There was nobody. And nobody else was killed. The fake news ran with Officer Switnick's body is laying in state because he's some hero, right? Where he ended up he died of natural causes. But the fake news went with he was bludgeoned with a fire extinguisher. That's all you heard every day. It was just all lies. Everything they say is a lie. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't insurrection. You know what insurrection is? When they burn down the courthouse in the police station in Portland, or they burn down or they take over Chaz in Seattle, and they don't allow police in, and 3 people die because they were killed inside the Chaz. That's insurrection. Motherfuckers, don't get me started. Come on, man. There's 400 political prisoners sitting in a fucking D.C. jail right now for trespassing. And they're not even allowed a legal defense because they're not charged with anything. Not one person is charged with insurrection. You know that. Not one. So
yeah, I mean, how could they be?
Because it wasn't insurrection. There was no insurrection about it. It was just a fucking joke, and the fake news. The fake news. Here's the thing is, they knew for weeks, for months, that there was 2 million people going to fucking D.C. They had the hotels were booked. They knew how many people were flying in. Trump called the National Guard. He knew they needed help. The National Guard was never deployed because fucking Pelosi never deployed it. Because they wanted this to
Exactly.
happen. They wanted this to happen. Everybody knew. My friend Ashley, who's on the left, she fucking told me, I hope this country doesn't burn tomorrow. I hope that we don't have civil war tomorrow. I said, I hope the same. I hope the same. I hope the same. Because everybody knew what was happening. But nothing was done. The National Guard that was called in by Trump was never deployed. They asked 5 times for help. The police never deployed. They won't answer it because they were in on it. The fucking Democrats wanted this to happen.
Right. It was I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if every single, maybe not every single one of the people in the crowd, but I mean, there had to be a number of plants there.
Oh, there were. There was a lot of plants there. There was probably, I'd say 10 Trump supporters, 10, 20, 25 tops that might have been causing ruckus. You know what I'm saying? Out of 2 million people. You know, but what did they do? What did the fake news do? They lumped 75 million people in the white supremacist racist. Okay? Because that's the narrative that sells. What they do is they throw things against the wall and they look for something that sticks. And white supremacist is the thing that sticks. That's it. That's what it. Listen, I know my friend Dustin Stockton that ran the Women for Trump rally, the Save America rally, and him and his girlfriend Jennifer Lawrence. She was, they were defamed. They were called white supremacists. They were threatened with jail. I mean, they were taken off Twitter. I mean, they're back on Twitter now. But I'm just saying, anybody that disagrees with the left politically, they will destroy you. You know what I'm saying? And this is not a free country anymore. We are on the verge of socialism and communism, and what's going on the border is a complete catastrophe. I mean, in 6 months' time, I figured Biden would destroy the country in about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. It took him 6 months.
Right. I mean, this is kind of a small issue in the grand scheme of things, but I mean, people just don't want to work anymore.
Well, why would you work when they give you unemployment?
Yeah.
They give you. Listen, my friend Mike, who plays in my home game every day, he owns Ace Hardware. He has to close 2 days a week. It costs him $15,000 a day. He loses twice a week because he doesn't have enough employees to work. Why would they work when they could get unemployment for the government for twice as much money? Why would they work? But this is what socialism is when you're dependent on that's how you get votes. You're dependent on the government to survive. Okay, they're spending trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars to put in people's pockets, and they don't care about the middle class going bankrupt. because where the most voters come from? They come from low income voters, right? What do you think? 80 something percent African Americans vote Democrat because they don't want equality. They want the welfare. You can't have welfare and equality at the same time. You can't. You want equality. You want better education to get equality. You can't have welfare. You can't have it both ways. You can't have government handouts and then say you want equality. That's all.
Right. I mean, who was it that said, in order to something to the effect of, in order to make people better their situation, you have to make them uncomfortable.
Exactly.
And yeah. No,
nobody wants to work. You're right. It's it's not just it's just the way it is, man.
Mike, this is a little bit of a change of pace, but I wanted to ask your opinion on something that I'm very passionate about, and I really think the left is trying to hold the facts on this. What's your opinion on Alien and all of the?
Here's the thing. Yeah, aliens exist. Okay, now for the last 20 years of my life, since I was about 30, I've always believed that all these UFOs that are being sighted, and I know this is really out there, and you could think I'm crazy, but I believe the alien world comes from the deep sea. I really believe that there are aliens deep down in the water, in our oceans. And that's why you see these, I don't know if you saw that craft, that last alien sighting where the ship disappears into the ocean. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah,
right? I did. And almost all the sightings are by supersonic, like crazy and they're all in the over the water by our Navy ships. See what I'm trying to say? So
For sure.
as crazy as it sounds, I believe somewhere 15 miles below. I mean, they're finding new species like every day. So you know how much. I mean, there's going to be a time where we're going to be able to go 20 miles deep to the bottom of the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Like even where the Titanic is that's only like 11 miles deep. I mean, there's parts of the ocean that are 30, 40 miles deep. You know what I mean?
But you got to believe also, and I don't think you sound crazy at all. I agree with you. You got to believe that the government knows more than what they're telling us.
Yeah, of course they do. Of course they do. You know, but listen, there's 80 million fucking stars in the air. They all have galaxies around them. I mean, there's so many. There's so many different galaxies with different. To think that we're the only people only living in the world, in the entire universe, you're just naive and stupid, you know. So that's just my opinion, you know. I have crazy thoughts, you know. I think, you know, at nighttime, like if you're in the dark, you could see thousands of shooting stars go by, right? I mean, I'm a believer that when you die on this earth, that your soul goes somewhere else, and every time you see a shooting star is when somebody's dying, and their soul is transferring to a different part of the universe. That's just my crazy thoughts. That doesn't mean it's true. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's I have lots of beliefs, you know, but I believe in God. I do believe God created the heavens and the earth, but I also believe God created the entire heavens and the earth. In other words, there's just more that we don't know of. You know what I mean? So that's my opinion. I don't, you know, like I said, I talk crazy a lot of times, but you know, I have pretty strong beliefs. I believe in God. I believe in I think that's one of the biggest problems in the world is people lost faith in God. The left is trying to take God out of everybody's life. And this
yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're a parent now, you know, and you want to teach your kids about God, I mean, you can't have them learning about that in school, and you can't keep your kids away from beliefs that you know that are unwholesome, that you don't want them to be taught.
Yeah, and so you know, it's listen. There's a reason why our money says "In God We Trust" on it. Okay, we are a Judeo-Christian country. Okay, and the left is trying to import lots of different people from all over the world that doesn't have our values. I mean, part of the Constitution says you must know English to live in this country. Okay, but the left they just let every illegal in. They don't care if they speak English. They let people in that you don't need to speak because they don't follow our laws. I mean, we have laws for a reason, but they don't want to follow them. And listen, I'll debate any fucking person that comes on this show that calls in that wants to debate me on any fucking political issue they can, and I'll put them in their fucking place. And I'm not even the smartest guy in the world, you know what I'm saying? But I follow it well, and you know, I guarantee you I'm more educated on what's going on in the world than I would say 98% of the world, because when I get involved with something, I work hard at it. You know, even my whole poker career, I've always, I put in the work. I work hard. You got to work hard in life. You know, the left wants to tell you you're marginalized, you're oppressed. No, you work hard in life, you make money. You fucking are lazy fuck, you don't make money. That's it. You know, and that's the same thing with learning what's going on in the world. It's real easy for like a Daniel Negreanu to say, oh, Mike gets his news off Facebook. Mike gets his news off this or that, because he's a fucking sheep and he doesn't study the issues. If he literally studied and looked into if we had discourse where I said, Daniel, this is my opinion on this, and I could show you how I'm right, and he said, okay, Mike, let's look this up together, like my friend who's on the left does, then there'd be hope for him. Okay, just like there's hope for her, and because I've literally showed her about 85% that I'm right about, and Like I said, 2 weeks ago, she said to me, she's like, Mike, you keep showing me these things and you end up being right. And I'm starting to doubt everything I thought about the world for the last 30 years, you know? And I'm like, I don't want to change your political view. I just want you to understand what's going on. And, you know, and she's been a leftist her whole life. And, you know, but she knows the media is corrupt. And so we debate issues and we look them up together. And if we feel like something's politicized, we call it out. And she's got, you know, there's been about 15, 20% of the time where I'm wrong. And I'm like, you know, I'm glad you showed that to me. You know what I'm saying? But you have to have discourse. You have to be able to debate issues. The left is shutting down all that. They're shutting it down. They're shutting it down on Facebook. They're shutting it down on Twitter. They're shutting it down on fucking all social media because social media got so big now the Democrat Party controls all that too, because that's how Trump won the election in 2016. But people are smartening up, okay? People are smartening up. They know what's going on. And as much of a moron as Trump was as a president, because he was a fucking idiot, I don't give a fuck if I'm on the right or not, he's a fucking moron. He exposed the fake news media for what they were, okay? And the greatest accomplishment of his presidency was exposing our fucking lying, corrupt media for what they are. That's it. I mean, that's his greatest accomplishment. It's not even close. Anyways.
Agreed, 100%. Mike, just one last question for you. Do you think that there's any hope for this country going forward?
I tell you one thing, and this is not a political statement. If we don't win back the House and Senate in 2022, there's no hope for this country. Because they will, if they have control of the government, if we don't have at least one of the three. Well, I mean, if we don't get two of the three, I mean, they could start passing these fucking laws. See, they're trying to pass. You know, that's the whole thing when Major League Baseball bailed out of the All-Star game because fucking the Democrats are pushing this. Oh, the Republicans are pushing an unfair election laws. No, we want voter ID. And if you want a mail-in ballot, you need to confirm with voter ID, okay? They don't want voter ID, but they want vaccine passports. You see what I'm saying? They want vaccine passports, but they don't want you to. They want you to have proof of who you are, that you were vaccinated, but they don't want proof of who you are to vote. If that's not enough to tell you what the right side is politically, you don't need to go any further. You don't, okay?
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. So they pass this bullshit because all we want is voter ID. Why is the left so against voter ID? They like, well, people that can't afford IDs. I'm like, who doesn't have a fucking ID, right? I'll tell you what. Give me one person to call into this show that tells me that they don't own an ID, have never had an ID, and I'll give them a fucking. And if they can prove that to me, I'll pay. You get $1,000, okay? Please, man, it's such a fucking lie. It's just a fucking lie. You know, just like fucking climate change. Yeah, it's real, okay? But it's also politicized, right? And the Earth has changed climates a zillion times. We've had like 20 ice ages, 20 heat fucking waves that fucking destroyed the... Come on, man. I mean, this is... they're like, well, this is the hottest month recorded. Well, how do you know? We've only been recording for like 120 years, you know? You know, so it's so stupid, man. So whatever. I know what's going on in the world. I'm very educated. Sounds like you are too. So
thanks, Mike.
All right, man. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
It was great talking to you.
You got
All
it,
right,
my man.
bye.
Later. I was hoping we didn't get too into politics, but politics is always fun because you can expose people for who they are.
Hello.
Welcome to the Mouthpiece. This is Mike.
Shalom Aleichem. What's up, brother?
Shalom Aleichem. Nothing much. How are you doing?
Not much, man. Gypsy Frank, what you been up to, bro?
Oh, just talking some politics, talking poker.
Yeah.
You know, we're supposed to have Scotty on today. Scotty's like, yeah, I'll be on tomorrow. It was supposed to be yesterday. He's like, I'm in so much pain, baby. He goes, I'll come tomorrow, and then he doesn't answer his phone today. So, you know, I love Scotty, but it kind of really bothers me when you commit to something and then you don't do it. You know, I told him straight out, you
Yeah.
know, if you can't make it, let me know. But if you can't, you know, if not, I'll schedule somebody else. And then, so I end up, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hey, Mom, I got to call you back, okay? I'm doing a podcast. All right, bye. Yeah, so my mom just called. So, yeah, so,
You got to get back to the content, man.
what's that?
You got to get back on with content.
Yeah.
You like once every month and a half now.
Yeah, no, having a podcast every 3 weeks is not good. We want to start having it every week. We've been talking about this, and we're going to have a podcast once a week from the World Series of Poker. We're going to be documenting everything on the YouTube channel. I'm going to have my cameras, my scooter, everything going on at the World Series. Everybody will be up to date on. And I also, they're filming a documentary on my life for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so they'll be filming during the whole World Series. So we're just waiting to get a clearance for them to be able to film. So we're doing that at the World Series this year. So there's a lot of good things on the horizon.
Interesting.
Yeah, it'll be. Yeah, what's the beeping?
My bad. It was my. I'm in my truck. Give me a second.
No problem.
So, what do you call it? I'm in Georgia and North Carolina and Cherokee. They got the WSOP circuit running or whatever. And, there's a lot of prelims, like $400 prelims and whatnot. I was going to play like the Monster Sack and Six Max.
Yeah.
Because those have the most value and the main event, obviously. But, what do you call it? This is my issue, man, with playing, like, when blinds are 25 and 50. And, you're starting with 25 and 30K or whatever. I just...
Dude, who shows up at that time? I don't show up for 4 hours. I don't show up till at least 100, 200 blinds. I mean, come on.
I like to be in when antes are implicated. You know what I mean? When antes come in,
here's the thing. If this is, and you're probably not old enough to know this, but until they went to these deep structures back in about 2007, 2008. I mean, it was like if it was a $1,000 buy-in tournament, they got 1,000 in chips. You 10,000 buy-in, you got 10,000 in chips, and there was no late reg. You showed up on time. If you weren't there on time or in line by the time it started, you don't get in the tournament. And so everybody was.
I wish they would do that. Honestly.
Well, me too, because everybody was forced to play those 25-50 levels or 25-25 levels with no antes, and some of these players, they just get too bored and they start playing too many hands when there's no ante in there, and they dust off their stacks.
Man.
I can't tell you how many times back in the old days in a $1,500 buy-in with 1,500 in chips, right? Guy loses $350 in chips, and he's only got like $1,150 in front of him, and he just blasts the $1,150 in. Because he's they panic. Okay, when you give people lots of chips, they feel comfortable. Okay, this is why Phil Hellmuth is dominating the format in these head-up challenges, because he understands, 30 big blinds or less tournament poker. He's the best 30 big blind or less tournament poker player in the world. Okay, so so Daniel or whoever plays him, they could dominate him. I mean, if they want, like sometimes. I mean, I'm not saying they even do that, but even if they dominate him, like for a couple hours, if Phil's in there and he's out chipped 65-35, and the blinds are up to where everybody's sitting with like 50 big blinds or less, Phil has the upper hand. Because now they could put people to the test. And when it's all said and done, this is why it's so stupid, all these deep buy-ins. I mean, when you're deep in every tournament, the chip leader has 50 big blinds. So why don't just...
Yeah, true story.
So what's all the play about? All that deep stack does is give an idiot chance to call a double raise with 7-9 suited against your aces and bust them. If it's chip for chip, you can't be fucking... You can't be in there seeing, you know what I'm trying to say? When you could put people to the test for their whole tournament all the time, But you can't do that 350 big blinds deep. Why would you ever put 350 big blinds in? You know what I mean?
I mean, in my mind, obviously, the more big blinds, the better player is supposed to win. I mean, when you got 25, 30, 40 big blinds, it's easier to get it in there in flips and whatnot. You know, if you open with nines and do 3-bet jams, you're supposed to call in that spot depending on player. You know, it's player.
But see, that's where
obviously,
that's where reading ability comes in. You know what I'm saying? And they've taken the reading ability out of poker. They're trying to tell you GTO, GTO, GTO. It's all about the math. No, it's not. It's all about the math on online because you can't see the person. It's all about reading the person.
Well, I have
live.
I have an online background. That's, you know, I started out playing on stars when I was 13 and 14, obviously, and shit. And, you know, I put an account in my mother's name and started playing sit and goes and, you know, $2 tournaments, dollar tournaments, and moved up to... moved up the stakes and everything.
No,
but,
I agree with you. Online is, if you don't know GTO and you're playing online, you can't win. Okay? So, I mean...
I mainly play tournaments at that, too, and, you know, it's different. A lot of it's exploitive. And do I try to follow, obviously, sound math? I think we all should, but I think exploitive is the way to go. Especially, it all depends on the game you're playing in, man. If you're playing fucking 2-5 in a casino, GTO, you're going to go busted, I promise you.
You're drawing dead. Drawing dead.
There's no way that you're going to make a living.
No. And here's the thing, okay? When Phil sits there and says, I fold ace-jack suited, okay, for one raise.
One bet,
and he goes, and then I put 44 big blinds in against Antonio with ace-10. How do you not see what I see? And I agree with him because...
I think a lot of that's coincidental.
It's not, bro.
I don't think
it's not. It's not, because I play the same fucking way, okay? It's like he said. If you look, they asked him, Poker News asked him why he played the ace-jack hand against Daniel the way he did. He said, well, he made it 2,800 with king 10 offsuit, and I called him down. So I knew the next time he made it 2,800, he was going to have a real hand because I know how Daniel thinks. And you know what? It was a perfect explanation, right? He knew when he saw the first time he made it 2,800 that he had dog shit, king 10 off, that the next time Daniel
balance that out.
Yes. But see, the thing is we are humans. We're not computers. We're not GTO computers, okay? So the human thought process is always going to be, oh, wow, Phil called me down when I made a 2,800 king 10 offsuit. Next time I'll make it 2,800, I'll have the goods. Okay, that's just how a human...
small sample size to put that much emphasis on, in my opinion, though.
But it's not. It's not, because fucking Phil has done it over and over and over and over and over and over and over on live TV, okay? And if you don't think the guy's won what he's won, I mean, the guy keeps winning. The guy's never done a sim in his life. I have a lot of respect
for him. I said it, a year ago on podcast. I think he's one of the best players in the world. 10 big blinds or under, because he'll raise fold with 4 or 5 big blinds, which I think is horrible. But he plays the best against bad players, in my opinion. I mean, obviously,
I agree with you. I agree with you. But let's, and I'll just say it like it is. Where do you make money playing poker? You don't make money fucking a dick fucking contest. You don't sit there and play the Aria high rollers to see whose dick is fucking bigger, because that money's just going to go round and round and round, and you're going to watch a Bonomo win every tournament one year and hasn't won one since. Okay, and he's a great player.
I was getting ready to say that.
You know, but it's what's going to happen right now. It's Eli Esmeralda that's winning them all. Okay, and it's just going to go right. This is what's going to happen, because everybody, even the best players.
Seen Coleman lately.
Yeah, even the best players are only like fucking 5% to 10% better than let's just say me. Let's just say the players that are better than me are only like 10%. You know how many years it would take for that to break even? So the bottom line is,
I think experience has a lot to do with it also, man. Seeing thousands and tens of thousands of hands and just being in a spot so many times and knowing that, like when you talk about reading ability and shit like that, some might be, intuitive or whatnot, but like I think just being in this spot 1,000 times and seeing this bet and knowing, well, he's most likely got it here.
When I play tournament poker, okay, and this is just my strategy, Okay, I play super nitty tight. I play nitty tight, and when the blinds go up, I use my image to steal blinds and annies and 3-bet, and they're like, "Oh, Mike has to have it. He's a nit." Okay, and that's what Phil does. Okay, and I'm not listen. That our thought process is, why play flips? Why get it all in and gamble when you could always get it in 3-4 to 1 favorite? And so, I mean, again, I don't want to speak for Phil, but we've talked thousands of hours about poker, and my thought process.
I hear you.
Our thought process is
your streams online.
Our thought process is steal blinds and annies, steal blinds and annies, steal blinds and annies. Use your image, and then trap people. And if you notice, even the top players now they're not 3-betting aces. They're limping. They're flatting. They're trapping. So when Phil talked about trapping 5, 6, 7 years ago, they all thought the game had passed Phil by. But now they're all playing the same way that Phil's been playing forever. So,
history repeats itself.
History repeats itself. I knew those 4 and 5 bettors of 2011, 2012 could never win, because the only time we ever 4-bet or 3, like whenever we do a 3-bet or a 4-bet, we see weakness, okay? Just like Phil did with the 3-8 of clubs versus Daniel's deuce hand, okay? Why can Phil fold for 2,800 ace jack, but he 5-bets him with 3-8 of clubs? Because he sees something. And again, I can't teach you that because I have that talent. I see things. I see everything. Like when something doesn't look right, I attack it, and I'm always right. And I have great instincts, and you can't teach that. I call that talent. You can't teach talent. Would I be a lot better if I learned GTO and studied it? Yeah, I'd be a lot better. But the truth of the matter is as good as Daniel has got studying GTO, he's gone away from his bread and butter of reading ability, okay? And he's making everything about GTO. And Daniel's one of the top 5 card readers I ever played with.
Let me share this thought. When I think why that hyper aggressive style got popularized, after 2007, 8, 6. Because I started playing in 03.
Because you had to do that online to survive in tournaments. That's why, right?
Well, not so much, but I mean, it was exploitive because I remember reading a TJ Cloutier book when I was 13, and he said, talking about 3 and 4 betting, if someone puts the 4th bet in and you got kings or queens, you should probably fold because he's got aces. You could go back. I forget what book it was, but it says that.
No, but it's the truth. If there was ever a 4-bet back in the time in the old time,
and there was a lot of limit being played back then too.
They had aces, okay, and so I mean, even there's very few people 4-betting light nowadays, okay, because it's just too tough to.
Because they're not as effective anymore.
Yes.
People understand that people are going to have to balance their 3 and 4 betting ranges out, and they're not always going to have it. That's why people will call late.
Yes, and so people have made the adjustments, and the game's come full circle, just like Phil said it was going to do. And again, I'm not trying to be on Phil's coat wagons because I think Phil does. When he's playing online cash game, I think he's a complete fish, and he gets mad at me when I tell him this. You know what I'm saying? I think even when he plays
me, you, or Phil, I mean, 90% of people are going to be fish in online cash games, to be honest with you.
And the truth of the matter is online cash, the thing is you raise, you 3-bet, you miss the flop, the texture comes bad, they check, you just give it up and you go to the next hand. You know what I'm saying? And
I mean, you're going off your intuition and your reading ability, but they got poker trap. I mean, I don't know what apps are out there now. Yeah. I don't play online anymore, but I mean, I remember playing online tournaments. I look at your VPID and think, all right, well, I'm jamming your fucking big blind because you folded X amount of times.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And you're fold to 3-bet range, shit like that.
And I didn't know any of that even existed until about 6 years ago, by the way. You know what I'm saying? So here, no wonder why I was always losing online. I was playing against people that were playing with software that told me what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? And I used to always, the funny part was I used to always feel like they knew what I was doing because I was like, how do they fucking know when I have a hand or not? Well, I found out that there's software that tells you that based on what you're...
Yeah, especially Russ Hamilton.
Yeah.
Jerk off.
That guy beat me out a lot. He fucked me up.
Yeah, that's a shame. I watched a documentary about that recently. Yeah. But as far as sit and goes, heads up, sit and goes. That's where I have the most experience at. I was playing heads up, sit and goes. There was a.
I love playing the head up.
Shark.
I play the head up turbos all the time. Those are. I mean, they're
then
just.
They had the hyper turbos and everything.
I play those too.
That was all about your ranges. So
Dude,
there was this site called Shark Scope. So what I would do, I mean, it's considered bum hunting. It's second seeding. Whoever's registered for it, type their name in, and it'll show you their ROI.
Yeah.
And if the guy has a 30% ROI, you shouldn't be sitting them.
Yeah.
If the guy's minus, then you're favored to beat him. So you'd sit there and second seed bums, and you'd make a decent living at it.
Yeah.
And it was pretty straightforward and easy if you know how to play heads up. But back then, man, I would just fucking min raise every button. A lot of books said, who was it? Dan Harrington, never fold your button and heads up play.
Yeah.
But now that's not really a thing anymore.
No, and you listen. You got to fold at least 30% of the buttons now, and you got to limp buttons. You got to balance. You got to balance. You got to limp big. Okay, see, that was another reason why Daniel struggled with fucking Phil, is he knows that Phil limps big on the button all the time. So Daniel couldn't exploit his button limps, but then Phil would limp weak, and then Phil would take pots. So Phil has always said for years, head up poker is about limping the button, right? And people used to call him an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But the truth of the matter is, do you think Phil Hellmuth could ever lost $1.2 million to Doug Polk playing fucking head up poker? Impossible. Like if they played 20 times, Doug might win 400,000 tops. Like whatever. Like I don't even think that much. Maybe 200,000. Phil's just gonna limp every fucking button, and he's gonna just lose small amounts, and then he's just going to put it in when he has. He's going to put it in when he has it, and then Doug's going to see that he's putting it in when he has it, and then Phil's going to adjust because he's going to be overfolding Doug, and then Phil will start robbing him, and that's how you play poker. You can't just
as long as he's adjusting accordingly in those spots. Then
exactly.
I get what you mean.
Right.
He's not going to be putting as much at risk because he's not going to be putting in 3 and 4 and 5 bets.
Right, and Daniel. And one thing that Doug was right about, Daniel kept 3-betting the small pairs out of position. I mean,
Daniel was trying to play a strategy that Doug has perfected.
Correct. He was trying to fight fire with fire. You can't do that. I mean, the guy's perfected that strategy. So yeah, Doug is going to say Daniel played good the last half of the match. Okay, but good to Doug's standard. All fucking Daniel needed to do is start limping buttons. And I mean, me and Phil had lots to talk about.
If he would have played more exploitive, I think he would have had a better shot.
And Doug never folded. So it's so easy to keep the pot small.
Yeah, he was looking him up light a lot.
Oh my God. Doug would call spots where I would sit there and watch, and I knew what Daniel's 2 cards were. And Doug would call 30,000, and Daniel would have the exact 2 cards that I thought he had. And again, I'm not trying to say I'm a great player when in head-up format online, but I'm watching things, and I'm looking for things, and I see things. And every time I saw something, I say, he's weak, he's strong, he's weak, he's strong. And I was right like 85% of the time. You see, and that's with me not looking at anybody's full hole cards. So, I think that Daniel made, he was pressing at the end. I think he lost the last 700,000 because he knew he had to gamble to win the match.
Right. Yeah. A lot of that was negative variance.
Right. So let's just say, he was 500,000 loser. The other 700,000 was Daniel trying to gamble. And out of the 530, 350 of it was him not playing well the first,
he was a massive underdog, and he was a massive underdog for a reason. I mean, what was the line? 4-1, 5-1, 6-1 in some spots.
But I tell you what, man, I love Daniel. He's very opinionated. He has to have it his way, but I mean,
I used to be a big fan, man, growing up and shit and watching him and stuff, man. But
I got really upset.
I guess since the poker star split and stuff, like, he's become very more vocal about his opinions and stuff and shit. And like, it's like cancel culture doesn't apply to him because he's on the left, and that pisses me off. Yeah.
And so, listen, I'm not a big fan of cancel culture anyways. And, Daniel did tell me that leaving Poker Stars, he was going to be able to be more himself. where it was more corporate with poker stars, and he had to, be careful.
Right,
what he
of
said.
course. So that attitude was a facade for X amount of years.
Yeah, I mean, but the way he acted towards Phil, the way he wanted to embarrass him, okay? He wanted to prove to the world that Phil Hellmuth sucks at poker and that everybody in the poker world knows it, and he's going to embarrass him. And Phil embarrassed Daniel, period. He embarrassed him. Match 2 and 3 was a complete fucking whitewash, okay?
Yeah, for real.
And if Daniel would have come public and said,
if you remember, we spoke prior to match 3 or whatever, and I tried to get you to side that I wanted to take Phil because
you said it. You said you did.
Factor.
You said it, and I thought that Daniel would adjust, and but Phil adjusted too. I mean, me and Phil have talked about his strat now that it's over, because he wouldn't talk strategy with me because he was worried I was going to say something to somebody, which I would never do it. But
understandable.
Like, he explained it to me what his strategy was.
Is he supposed to sweep all 3 matches?
No, he's not supposed to win match 1.
Obviously not, even versus Antonio and Daniel.
He's not supposed to win match 1. Okay, he didn't play well the first hour and a half. He got way down. Daniel wasn't going to give him any chips to let him get off the hook, and then came the Queen 6 of clubs with against the 10-5 of clubs in the unraised pot with 7 big blinds, where Daniel had the flop came deuce 3-4 with 2 clubs, and he happens to be up against the only fucking hand that he's like dead against, right? So then Phil gets the double up to 14 bigs. Then Phil moves in like 3 or 4 times, and now he's got like 21 bigs, and he was sitting with 21 bigs to Daniel's 50 bigs, and he was comfortable as fuck. And then the deck hit him. And the truth of the matter is, though, but Daniel wants to say, well, the deck ran. No, Daniel hit just as many cards as Phil did, okay? And the stats will show it, okay? But it just so happens that Daniel hit him early, Phil hit him late, okay? But in match 2 and 3, I mean, especially match 3, Phil fucking crushed him. And the only reason why Daniel was even in it at the end was he got kings against kings and won it, right?
Yeah,
and,
the 4 flush.
And the king 3 of clubs, Daniel moved in against the ace queen, and he won that when he, we had 3 outs with after the flop. So I'm just saying, like, those are the 2 hands. That's the only time that Daniel, I mean, if you look at all the rest of the hands, Phil completely outplayed the fuck out of him in match 2 and 3. You know what I'm saying? And if Daniel, if Daniel would have just gone public and said, I apologize to Phil Hellmuth for how I disrespected his game. I think he played really, really well and deserved to win. He'd have had a lot more respect from me and everybody else. Instead when he lost that 3rd match, he stayed off Twitter for 3 fucking days because he didn't want to see all the, you know what I'm saying? And he told me he said, I'm not going to answer any texts, Mike. He goes, I'm too upset. He goes, hit me up in 3 days, right? He goes, I'm not going to be on Twitter. I'm not going to be on whatever. So, listen, I asked Phil many times. I said, I know you've won a lot of bracelets in your life, a lot of tournaments. How do they match up with fucking sticking it up fucking Daniel's ass the way he disrespected him? He goes, I'm not going to lie, Mike.
It was very validating.
He goes, I'm not going to lie, Mike. He goes, I still rather win a bracelet. He goes, but this was definitely up there, And so, I mean, in all fairness, it's like, listen, Phil called me when he was losing to Nick Wright about 2 hours in, and he was very upset. And he calls me.
That just goes to show you how a heads up sit and go could go any direction.
He was very upset. He felt like he couldn't figure this guy out. And I said, Phil, relax. Let the game come to you. Be patient. Study him. You'll be fine. And he figured him out, and he ended up, calling him down with Jack High, Queen High, both good. He just played great, So the Tom Dwan match will be interesting. Only because Tom Dwan.
I don't think he's going to like it much.
Only because Tom Dwan is 100 times the player today than he was in the middle of 2007, 2008, when he was just running so fucking good. I mean, the motherfucker 3-bet every deuce 4, deuce 5 offsuit and fucking made the nuts with it. You know,
he got there. Yeah, he got there.
But Tom Dwan is
if
a really.
You remember during the NBC heads up shit, he played Phil, and he pulls out $1 million in checks and shit, and is offering him to play heads up for any amount or whatever.
Yeah,
I think Phil had a better chance of beating him then than he does now.
Way better chance. But again, Tom Dwan, if Phil is alive with 30 big blinds 3 hours in, it now swings over to Phil because Tom is not very good at tournament poker. Okay, he doesn't understand tournament poker where Phil does.
Yeah, it's never been a strong point. He's a cash game player.
He's a great cash game player, and he's one of the best. And if you watch him play high stakes poker now. He's like the tightest player on the table. Okay, because he understands. Everything comes full circle. I've been saying it for years. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I appreciate the call,
You
man.
talk about full circle. If I could share something real quick, just an opinion. Like I play a 5-5 game. They opened up a legal poker room here in Georgia now. That's just like Texas, timed rake, all that shit. And the 5-5 game plays like 5-10.
I'm playing a 5-5 50 ante game on Tuesday at the Hustler. Right,
it's a good game.
The game is going to be the game. People are winning or losing 20,000 in a 5-5 game. Like I won 14,000 the last time I played it. I'm sure I'll.
You don't expect to see 15, 20K pots playing 5-5 when you hear it, and here there's a 1K max buy-in. Once it gets deeper, obviously you could match stacks and stuff. It's against the room's rules or whatever, but people turn a blind eye. What I've come to notice in playing games like this in casinos and whatnot, fish, your rec players that will play higher usually don't tend to bluff huge post-turn and post-river, in my opinion. I mean, what do you think about that? That's just something I noticed. And, poker, they made it on TV about making monster hero calls. I think it's more important your hero folds.
Yeah. No, I'm not about hero calls. I'm about the folds. I'm always looking to fold. Okay. I know that's crazy, but I'm always looking. In other words, when somebody makes a big raise on me, I'm running everything through my head. Can he be bluffing here? How did the hand go? Can I find a better spot? Okay. And there's been many times I folded and a guy bluffed me out of big pots. And because I'm looking for a better spot, but that's only because I feel like I can exploit him. You see what I'm saying? If I feel like I got a good read on him and I can exploit him, I don't have to make that call, even though my instinct.
I don't want to flip a 10K coin, for being 50-50, or if I'm ahead by 8% when I could get this guy in a way better spot and get him to put his money in as a 3-1 dog.
Yeah. So, why? Here's the thing: is why
you talked about that in a PLO thing. You're like, why get it in on the flop when you could get the guy to put it in on the turn if it breaks out with draws when you have a set or a straight and have him beat a 3-1 dog.
Exactly. And the thing is like you watch people put it in on the flop. Like I was watching the Live at the Bike stream the other day, and guy flopped the bottom set of sixes on a 6-9 10 of spades board. I mean, I don't know how you get it all in with set of sixes and a 6-9 10 of spades board, because you're probably up against a bigger set or the flush. But like, if the guy with the set of
player dependent also,
the guy with the set of sixes like won both boards, by the way, right? But the guy with the nut flush, when he gets raised on that flop, I'm just gonna call. And then I'm going to see what happens.
Oh, it was it was all spade board?
All spade board on the 6-9 10 of spades flop. And they put it all in on the flop. And the guy hit a 6 on the fucking turn. Hold on 1 second.
Good.
Hey, Ryan. I'm doing finishing a podcast right now. Let me call you back, okay? Yeah, all right, bye. It's like, bet raise. I mean, I might just call with the nut flush there and put it on the turn, but the board pairs, I might just call and then see what happens on the river. But, they put it all on the flop, and the guy hit a 6 on the turn to win the first board, and it hit a 9 on the second board to win both boards. That's pretty funny, actually. So,
That's what's great about the game. People watch these fucking people on TV and stuff and think they have to play for stacks in this spot, or they'll watch tournament poker and try to equate that with cash game poker. and think that they can't fold ace king pre-flop and shit like that.
I fold ace king pre-flop in my cash game I play in all the time, and I'm right 90% of the time. I watch.
Yeah, like you'll never see somebody open fold ace. You know, if they see you open fold ace jack under the gun +1.
I do it all the time.
Whatever.
Do it all the time. You know.
Absolutely. I mean, the average person will say, "Oh, you're a sucker for that" or whatever. But you know, I agree with it. But I see spots that you're in, and with no offense, I don't mean to critique or whatever, but I mean, when it's folded to you and you have 11 big blinds on the button, you got ace-5 suited, and you're not jamming, I think that's a major leak.
Well,
but that's just my opinion.
I do jam it, and I always lose. I always get called, and I always lose. You know. But
you just can't be results-oriented.
No, I'm not.
Like that.
Well, here, you're a GTO player, so I'm watching Daniel's stream, and he had 17 blinds, okay, and he's under the gun, and it's 5-handed. Okay, so, I mean, there's blind him, but there's still 4 people behind you, and he has pocket 3s, and he open rips 2 3s. Now, in my fucking thought process,
you raise fold in that spot, or you can choose to fold if you want.
I fold that with 17 bigs, right? So then, and the guy who called him, who had 44 bigs and called 17 of his 44, he called with king queen suited, and I'm like, king queen is just never ahead of a guy who open shoves under the gun. He's either fucking flipping or dead, right? So
yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that's kind of bordering the line.
So I text Dan,
queen there.
So I text Daniel. I'm like, I don't like your open rip.
I don't like the jam whatsoever. But no, he uses the excuse, I'm playing to win.
He's playing to win, and he sends me the GTO chart that says 13%. I'm sorry, 20% of the time you're supposed to open rip 2 3s, okay, and 13% of the time the guy's supposed to call with king jack or king queen. I said. So when I saw that, I said, well, sounds to me you got pretty unlucky. You moved in one of the 20% of the times, and the guy called you, though, the 13% of the time. But, I mean, I disagreed with it completely. I fold 2 3s under the gun. I'd rather fucking, I mean, you can see another 20 hands. I'd rather jam
9-10 suited there than
me too, bro. And he jams, and he's all like, well, the guy hits a queen. If he calls, okay, we're flipping. Okay, well, why do you want to? Well, I mean, I don't understand that. And I argued about it.
Hours to flip it there at that level.
Yeah. So.
But obviously, you got to rip it at points and whatnot. But
yeah, but not whatever. 17 bigs. Maybe 11.
Yeah.
Or 10.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know,
he's got 9 to 10, 11 there.
17? That can't 17. Be right. That can't be right.
He could have 3 or 4 more orbits without getting a hand and still have fold equity.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's good talking to somebody like you that's a GTO player that plays online. So then now I don't think I'm completely crazy when I said to him, this can't be right, moving in with 17 bigs with 2 3s. And I said, as bad as I hated your moving, I'm like, the king-queen calls, it's got to be worse, you know? And whatever. So I appreciate it.
It is. Well,
thanks for calling, my man.
It was good talking. Yeah, man, take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right. Well, you guys, I appreciate all the calls. And if you want to play in my home game, email mouthpoker@yahoo.com. Mouthpoker@yahoo.com. Get 300 in chips for 200. Mouthpoker@yahoo.com. We're out of here. I'll be in LA next week. I'm on vacation. I'm going to be playing some live streams. Check out Hustler Live next week. And I'll be on there. And I will talk to you all later, and I'll see you in a few weeks. Take care. Thanks for listening to The Mouthpiece.
The Mouthpiece.